Hey Narwhals, I'm your host Luke Narwhal, and today we'll be reading 3 weight loss stories from r/lose-it to help you stay on track. Be sure to join our weight loss community on Reddit to get support on your journey, link is below, and leave a like and subscribe for more videos. 80 weeks and 285 pounds later, I hit my goal. When I weighed myself last February, I was completely frustrated, embarrassed, and overwhelmed. I was 30 years old, I weighed over 500 pounds, I was on medication for gout and type 2 diabetes, my mobility and stamina were greatly diminished, and I had virtually no confidence or self-esteem. But I was also determined to make a change. I knew the only way to conquer the mountain before me was to scale it one step at a time. I needed a plan and a team of people around me to help me see it through. Diet. In short, I focused primarily on reducing my saturated fat, sodium, carbs, and added sugar, while increasing my fiber, lean protein, and healthy fats. I began to cook the majority of my food and removed most processed foods from my diet, although not entirely. I joined Weight Watchers, began tracking everything I ate, and have used their point system as a general guideline for how much I should eat along the way. Exercise. I started working with a personal trainer, following a strength training routine at least 2 days a week, and gradually increasing my overall activity level over time. Currently, I have shifted entirely into bodyweight calisthenics, average about 11,000 steps a day, and I've started biking at least 20 miles per week. Health. For the diabetes, I met with my doctor who put me on metformin while I made significant reductions to carbs and sugars, largely eliminating grains, legumes, starchy veggies, high GI fruits, and most processed foods from my diet. For the gout, I continue to take medication and limit the amount of high purine foods that I consume, things like beer, butter, red meat, organ meat, and a lot of seafood. Psychological and emotional. I reached out to family and friends regularly for support and encouragement. I talk about this process with them a lot, as discussing it openly and regularly really helps me maintain my focus. I attend Weight Watchers meetings weekly for accountability, support, and guidance. These really help to sustain my resolve and give me practical strategies for dealing with many of the challenges I encounter along the way. Little by little, I have pushed forward, chipping away at my goal. I've faced many challenges and setbacks along the way too. I've struggled through gains and plateaus, injuries and illnesses, boredom and complacency, temptations and cravings. But through it all, I kept pressing on, constantly reflecting on the myriad of whys that set me down this path. And here I am now, a little over a year and a half later. I'm 31 years old, I've lost over 285 pounds. I have reversed my type 2 diabetes and brought my gout under control. I have become stronger and more active than ever before, and I'm feeling better about myself every day. I've learned a lot of important lessons along the way. You are only as strong as your support system. Surround yourself with people who can give you encouragement, guidance, support, and accountability. Cultivating discipline works better than looking for motivation. Our willpower can only take us so far, and real change takes root in the habits and routines we build along the way. It's much easier to keep the ball rolling than to get it going again. Perfection isn't possible, but our best effort is. Mistakes only become failures when we fail to grow from them. Every journey faces setbacks. It's how we bounce back from them that defines our character. Focus on the path in front of you, not your ultimate destination. It's easy to feel overwhelmed looking at the journey ahead. It's much less daunting to focus on our next meal, day, or milestone. Recognize your accomplishments and celebrate often. There is no such thing as an insignificant victory or triumph. Take pride in every goal you achieve, no matter how big or small they seem. Shake things up and challenge yourself. While our routines and habits form a solid foundation, it's also important to continue to build on them. Whenever you find yourself hitting a plateau, getting burnt out, or feeling bored, challenge yourself to try something new that can push you even further. I am so excited for whatever comes next, and I am immensely grateful for all the kindness, support, and advice I've received. Thanks for taking the time to read this. Sorry for such a long post. We can turn around the horrible effect of morbid obesity on our lives. Most people who are morbidly obese know all too well the negative effects of their situation. For me, at 330 pounds, it was becoming more and more apparent that my quality of life was slipping, and that I was struggling with everyday activities due to my weight. Every time I had a moment like that, I was wounded on the inside. Some examples of situations that would break me apart bit by bit. Visiting a friend and struggling to get up from her deep couch enough for her to notice and make a comment about it. Realizing that I should try not to ever sit flat on the floor because I was having such trouble getting up from that position. Going for a short walk with a friend and realizing midway through that I would have real trouble going all the way along our route because I was very winded and not even close to normal given the distance we were going. Scoping out chairs when entering a new room because I knew I would be very uncomfortable in some, read most chairs, or even struggle to fit. Being so fearful of flying because I didn't fit properly in the seat and the seatbelt would sometimes be too small. I would be so scared my passenger neighbor would lash out at me. Struggling to tie my own shoelaces because my tummy was in the way and I was getting so inflexible. There were many more small and not so small indignities in my daily life, and they were getting worse fast. Each of them broke my heart, until I finally made some progress with my mindset, got over enough of my fear of failure, since I have lost and regained before, and was put in a situation where I really wanted to do something I could not do unless I lost weight and got fit. The ultimate impetus which got me to change was a trip with my mom to walk the Camino de Santiago, a pilgrimage of varying distances which people walk to a small town in northwest Spain. At 330 pounds, there was no way I was going to be able to do that without some major changes, and I badly wanted to share this experience with the person I love the most in the world. Eventually, all the mental work I was doing culminated in some changes. Fast forward 13 months of hard work. That same girl that couldn't walk a single mile without having to stop to rest just walked 37 miles over a 3-day weekend to prepare for the Spain trip, which is 4 weeks away. 37 freaking miles. I have also lost 110 pounds and feel like a completely different person. Looking back now, I feel so much compassion for 330-pound me. She was the only one who somehow looked past all that pain and dysfunction and eventually changed her entire life, just like so many of the people on the subreddit are doing. I realized that since we all have contradictory little people inside, the same person that can get to a really bad place in their life is the one that can overcome so much to get out of that situation, and that is an incredible thing. PSA: a recent increase in exercise often causes a several pound increase in water weight for up to 6 weeks. Physiologist here. I was reminded by some posts today that a year has passed since I last posted this. This is about the time in late January when people who change their exercise routine on January 1st can start getting discouraged because of not seeing a drop in weight, or even seeing an increase. This can sometimes be due to inaccurate estimation of portion size. If you're not using a food scale, get one. However, there's another common cause of this plateau in weight. It's called the exercise plateau, and it's due to water weight increases that are caused by a recent change in exercise. This very commonly happens to anyone who has just done a big change up in an exercise routine. It has 2 main causes. 1. Cardio causes an immediate increase in blood volume. This starts happening immediately, same hour as the cardio. The kidney immediately begins retaining water the very moment it detects that you're now doing intense cardio. This effect is amplified if you are also getting dehydrated during the exercise. The kidney always responds to a dehydration bout by boosting blood volume later, as a defense against future dehydration. Overall, the kidney boosts blood volume by about 20% in week 1. This is followed in week 2 by blood cell production by the bone marrow, which adds additional weight. This adds up to a several pound ramp up in weight across the first 2 weeks of cardio. This is all a good thing. Increased blood volume is one of the classic adaptations to cardio, and it is a sign of fitness. Fit people often have at least a liter more blood, sometimes more, than unfit people of the same size. A liter of blood weighs 1 kilogram or 2.2 pounds. 2. Anything that causes any muscle soreness at all will also add water weight. Do you have a sore muscle anywhere in your body, anywhere at all? Then you have some inflammation-related water weight. This can happen when starting a new type of cardio, like say you're a jogger and you switch to swimming. It also very often happens after weightlifting. The effect on weight is because the inflammatory response of sore muscles always includes some localized edema, swelling, water weight. This is normal and it is part of the muscle's healing process. It is such a consistent effect that increase in muscle girth is used to study muscle soreness. Example, sore quadriceps can cause an increase of 30% in thigh circumference for the next 3 days, almost entirely due to local edema. Sources at bottom. If several major muscles have this sort of soreness, there can be a noticeable effect on scale weight. Together, the sudden jump in blood volume and the inflammation-related water weight usually add several pounds on the scale within the first 6 weeks of exercise. This can often completely mask underlying losses in body fat for 3 to 6 weeks. The blood volume will stay with you for as long as you do the cardio, and again, it's a good thing. But the inflammation in the sore muscles will pass. There is typically a whoosh, somewhere around weeks 3 to 4, where scale weight suddenly drops, but sometimes it takes as long as 6 weeks. If you have been calculating food intake correctly and truly have a caloric deficit every day, you have to have been losing fat all along. There's actually no way not to. So if you are getting discouraged because of hitting the gym hard, plus carefully watching your food intake but seeing no change or even an increase in your weight, take heart and stay strong. Double down on your food tracking with the food scale to be sure you have your food intake target buttoned down, and then just stay strong and wait for the whoosh. And that brings us to our featured narwhals of the day. If you'd like to be a featured narwhal, just head on over to our subreddit at r/losingnarwhals. Link is in the description below. Our first featured narwhal of the day is Lettuce Bunch Dudes, and they say 27 female, highest weight 289 in 2014, lost over 120 pounds by late 2016, had a child in 2018, and I'm now getting back on track, this time also newly diagnosed with an autoimmune disease. I am right in between my lowest and heaviest weight. My first big goal is to get it back under 200 pounds, current weight 229. Our next featured narwhal of the day is So Average It Hurts, and they say, no picture updates yet, but I started my journey on February 1st and have lost 10 pounds with intermittent fasting and drinking mostly water. And our last featured narwhal of the day is The King of the North, and they say, still losing weight, picture 1 is 19 stone, and picture 2 is 18 or 17 stone. And the third picture is me now at 16 stone. My BMI is 36. I still have problems with snacking and self-confidence, example, how I look. I have been doing this since 2018. I'm on my third year of doing this. I gym and do performing arts. Thank you for sharing, narwhals. Be sure to like and subscribe for more weight loss videos that help you stay on track. Thanks for watching, narwhals, and I'll see you in the next one.